Hello everyone, this is Linda, and I'm with Hooks and Threads with Linda and John Boy. And we're glad you could join us today in our little small community in the woods of Arkansas, where it's so hot you can fry eggs on the sidewalk. And if you don't like the weather, just wait 5 minutes and it'll change. Last night, the sun was shining just before we went in. The sun was shining, it was getting late in the evening, and it was really, really hot, and we were sitting on the back porch, and all of a sudden it just started raining so hard. It was like raining cats and dogs outside. As my dad would say, it really came a toad strangler. And I never did understand that until I got grown. You know how toads really like water. And he would say it rained so much it became a toad strangler. I guess they strangled to death on all the water, I assume. I'm sorry I hadn't been with you in a while. I had eye surgery, and I've been down pretty well since Monday or before. And I guess I had a really good time with it. Everybody said I was doing great. And it really wasn't that bad. It was a little bit painful and hard to get used to, of the ointment and taking care of my eyes and whatever. But John did a really good job of taking care of it for me every day. And still doing a good job. He's still doing it. And I have to say he's probably doing a much better job than I've done with it. But he has a lot of patience with doing stuff like that. First time I squeezed the tube, it's a little bitty tube, like a little over an inch. I mean, just little. And I squeezed it, and lo and behold, I guess it's too much that came out of the tube. And so I had to call and ask them would they order me some more. And they told me they would. That happens quite frequently because the tubes are so small. So I was thankful that they had patience and kindness toward me, because a lot of places don't. A lot of places would have said, well, that's just tough. But they didn't. They were just so kind, and I appreciated that so much. But all in all, I'm doing okay. If you ever have to have your eyelids done, you're going to have black eyes for a few days. You can see. But all in all, I'm doing really good. I got a lot of stitches. It wasn't as effective as I wanted it to be. I still have some sagging. But John said they probably could do it over, and I said, no, I don't know if I want to do that again. And that's a whole lot. And it's very stressful. They don't put you to sleep. They just give you some pain meds and tie you down where you can't move. And it's on about 2 hours more. But anyway, it wasn't painful. It just works on your nerve system, that's for sure. But anyway, I got through it. I'm just a big baby, and I know I am, so that's okay. I'd be the first one to admit it. And John will tell you the same thing. But anyway, I got through it. He got through it, thank God. He said he was beginning to get really worried because it was taking so long. And they had told us it would probably take about an hour. And boy, they missed that for a long shot. And so it took almost 2.5 hours or more. And he was really getting antsy about it. But in the end, it was all worked out, and we traveled back home, and we stopped and got a hamburger and brought it home, and everything worked out great. So I'm thankful to the Lord that it has. I'll be getting my stitches out this next week. And hopefully, I'm going to be all the way on the mend. I just look forward to not having to put ointment and all that extra stuff that you have to do to take care of yourself. But anyway, I'm glad that you joined us today, and I pray that wherever you are in the world, that things are going good for you. I pray that God will give you comfort and strength in anything that you need. And I know a lot of older people are going through financial problems with air conditioning units running. And not only that, but the grocery bill is so high. So if you have a loved one that is elderly or older, lives on a small check, be sure to check on them. Be sure to find out for sure if they are being able to pay their bills and to cool their house. Because a lot of older people will not run the air conditioner to keep their light bills down. And in the end, it turns out bad. So be sure to check on them, and because groceries are so high, and you take between groceries being so high and your light bill being so high, it makes it really, really hard for older people, and even a lot of younger people as well. But a lot of younger people get food stamps or assistance of some kind, where elderly don't. And so it'd be wise to check on them. Make sure that they're doing okay. And that's what I would do if I had a mother and daddy. I would check and make sure that every day they were doing good and could pay their bills, because it's really, really important. But I found this and I wanted to share it, and I want you to think about it. Disrespect will close doors that apologies cannot open. Be careful how you treat people you think you don't need. Disrespect will close doors that apologies cannot open. And if you're as old as I am or older, you've had someone to really disrespect you that you really, really loved, and you really thought a lot of them. And all of a sudden, they showed a tremendous disrespect. I can recall 2 or 3 times in my life that happened. And I will not call any names because that's not important. I forgave them and I moved on with my life, and that's the way it should be. But the Bible says that you've got to forgive. Forgiveness will free you. And unforgiveness of people that you don't forgive, it will get in your bones and flex your bones, and that's in Proverbs. So look it up. So we all need to find a way to forgive. And sometimes it's certainly not easy. I've had to forgive a lot of people that I thought they cared about me the most. And I found out that it was they cared about me probably the least. And I know that you have, and everyone has experienced that one time or another in their lives. Disrespect will close doors that apologies cannot open. You know, one time, John and I have always been people that helped other people. I mean, we just have. If somebody was doing something and they needed help, we helped them. And most of the time did not get paid for it. We just did it for the Lord, for the Lord's work. We wasn't expecting anything. But this certain person, and this happened, and it really blowed me away, and it shouldn't have, but it did. You know, John had always cooked for him and did all that, and I cleaned up. I mean, that's just how it rolled. And, you know, I was told in flat way that they didn't eat this or that this way or that way. And so I said, okay. So I moved on, went outside, and went on about my business. But what I'm saying is, there's a good way to tell somebody something. You don't have to hurt somebody's feelings or disrespect them. You can tell them in a better way without being snappy and mean. And I never got over that. And it took me years to get over it because it just hurt me so bad. And I never was expecting that kind of treatment. But it happens, and it don't only happen to me, it happens to all of us. You too, I'm sure. But try to remember that when you disrespect, and people will say this, that's not disrespecting, that's just telling it like it is. No, that's pure disrespect. If somebody is doing all they can do to help you and your family, you don't speak to them like that, and you certainly don't use that tone. That's not just saying it like it is. That's disrespect. And no matter how many apologies that would be given, it never will take that away. Even though you forgive. But you know, I've never learned how to forget it. You know, I've learned how to forgive. I've learned how not to think about it. You know, if back then when I would think about some things like that, I would just put it on the back burner and say, oh, I'll think about that later. Because I didn't want to deal with it. And I found that was a good way of handling a lot of situations, is just putting it on the back burner. You know, everything in our lives change. Happy days change, sad days, rainy days, sunny days. Everything in our lives change. Even if you're hungry or you're not hungry. You know, I mean, everything changes. So if you don't like something for a minute, just wait. It'll change. Whether it's the weather or somebody's attitude, or if you just have to get in your car and leave or get away from them, stay away from them. Sometimes you even have to do that. But whatever you have to do, do it. Because, let me tell you something, peace is better than drama. I choose peace. Now, I know a lot of people love drama. They feed off of it. I mean, the first thing they do when they see you let me tell you what Sister Sue did. And I'm like, I don't care what she did. It's none of my business. Because I don't care what Sister Sue did. But they're dying to tell you they want to stir the pot. Or do you know what somebody said about you? And I just couldn't believe it because they're a Christian. Well, just let me say this. If they're talking about me to you, they're talking about you. Yes, they are. Don't put yourself so high on the pedestal because you will get knocked off completely. But I saw this and I wanted to share it with you because it kind of resonated in my soul. You know that this really is true. That no matter how many apologies, it never will mend the hurt. You might forgive them and you might go on, but it won't ever mend that broken heart. So think about what you're doing. Think about what you're saying. Be kind to one another. I mean, it only takes a minute to break someone's heart. And it only takes a second to light up somebody's world. Just merely by smiling. How are you today? Are you doing all right? That can make people feel really good. So take the time out to do that. And I found this little thing and I want to share this with you. Fishing is like dating. It's all catch and release until you find a keeper. Fishing is like dating. It's all catch and release until you find a keeper. And boy. And another little jewel that I found was this. Never be a prisoner of your past. It was a lesson, not a life sentence. Oh, do I know that all the mistakes that you made in your life, people will never, ever let you live it down. Not ever. But you can move on from that. You can say, oh, not today. Not today. I don't live at that address anymore. And they can go to that address over and over and over. And I'm not going to be there. Because the Lord forgave me. Jesus died on the cross for me. And I'm forgiven. And if you're not saved today, turn your life around. Put Jesus in charge. He'll be good to you. He'll be good for you. You'll find yourself to be a lot happier than when you're out in the world doing people wrong, saying things that you really shouldn't be saying, or whatever you're doing. I don't know what you're doing, and it's none of my business. Because I'll tell you, when I was young, I was quite a rounder myself. So I sure can't hang anybody to the cross. And I never would try. But anyway, I just wanted to share those few little jewels I found. And one more before I close. If my body was a car, I'd trade it in for a newer model. 'Cause every time I cough or sneeze, my radiator leaks and my exhaust pipe backfires. And John just rolled his eyes at me. Oh, yeah, my radiator leaks and my exhaust pipe backfires. John rolled his eyes and said, yeah, like he knows all about it, right? But anyway, pray for me and John when you pray. Keep in mind to be kind to one another. And I'm sorry I haven't been with you in a good little while because I have had a lot of health problems, and as y'all all know, I have Parkinson, and that keeps me down a little bit. But my eyes is really what's kept me down lately. But you pray for me, and I'll pray for you, and please leave a comment. I'm praying that after next week, when I get all these stitches out of my eyes, I'm going to be able to go fishing because the water's down. It's going down. And I think we're going to be able to go fishing pretty soon. But I can't get any sweat or anything like that in my eyes right now, so I'm kind of bound to the house right now. But that's okay too. God knows all about it. Pray for me and I'll pray for you. Leave me a comment. And please subscribe, like, and share. And the more you share this, the more it'll help me. And I appreciate it. And I'll see you next time on the Arkansas Hills. Bye-bye. God loves you, so do I.